At the top of just about everybody's GOAT list rests Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And in recent years, the media and the hoops world have been making the claim that LeBron James is arguably the GOAT, or that he has a shot to overthrow MJ. Well, the biggest flaw in that argument is that there are multiple superstars in NBA history that stretches over 72 years that LeBron just hasn't passed yet. And the biggest flaw with the GOAT debate that LeBron has is that he cannot definitively prove that he is a better basketball player than Kobe Bean Bryant, who is a worse version of MJ. LeBron has been one of my most favorite players to watch, and it's going to pay me to make this video because growing up, I too was an all-around player, and this video will basically be exposing the simplest argument for Kobe still being greater than LeBron James. I will be making it completely fair for both players, while I'll be shining a light on both of their biggest strengths, weaknesses, triumphs, and failures. So let this be clear, alright? This does not mean that LeBron cannot pass Kobe soon. And also LeBron James' 2011 performance will not be what drives this video because Kobe had a horrific finals in 2004 where I saw him have a similar trash effect on his team. Now I already know that I'll be pissing off a lot of people in this video, but I will only be using facts and I will definitely link everything below. So make sure to click that subscribe button and the bell for more videos. Anyway, let's get to what everybody came for, man. I'm about to eat this ish, my G. Cue that intro. Alright, to start, looking at the averages for each player's early years just won't do them justice because both played in different eras. Not too far apart, but to be drafted 7 years apart, it's different eras. So let's look at each year, each's early years in detail. For the stat lovers, you may laugh at Kobe's rookie year averages, but understand this. Players like Kobe, KG, and T-Mac, they paved the way for players like LeBron because Kobe, he averaged about 15 to 26 minutes per game in his first 2 seasons coming straight out of high school. It's not like Kobe was unable to start. During the Summer League in 1996, this man averaged about 24.5 points per game and 5.3 rebounds per game over 4 games, scoring 36 in the finale. At the time, he was the youngest player to ever play in an NBA game and start at just 18 years of age. Okay, so starting young bucks fresh out of high school was just not a thing in the 90s, especially over pros like Eddie Jones, who was an all-star that year, and Nick Van Exel. So when then GM Jerry West, when he saw Kobe's pre-draft workout, at the time he said that was the best that he'd ever seen. Del Harris, head coach at the time, was not going to start or play Kobe too long though. During that rookie year, basically, the Lakers, they went to the playoffs and faced the Jazz in the second round. We're in Game 5. Kobe Bryant, in the final minutes of the closing game, he shot 4 air balls. Everybody was laughing and grilling him, but Shaq said this, in quote, "I wasn't upset that he shot those air balls. He was the only one with enough guts to shoot the ball," end quote. This is coming from a guy, who was their leader at the time. Shaquille O'Neal was their clear leader. He made it very clear that Kobe was absolutely necessary for the Lakers' future success. This same number 8 grew into being an all-star the following year, and in 2000 was second banana to Shaq, while in 01 and 02, he was Shaq's partner in crime to wrapping up a three-peat. Now, for those who do think that he got carried, I have some interesting statistics for you right here. I'm just going to put up one stat. There's a lot more you could look up. You can just see the one on the screen. Now, moving on to LeBron. On the other hand, he did have the benefit of coming into a situation in Cleveland where he was not expected to win and receive starting minutes immediately, getting ready to, basically make the rookie mistakes and fill up the stat sheet. This is basically after players like Kobe, T-Mac, KG, they've already paved the way and showed that high school players, they're definitely ready to come in and play ball. It's no shade. No shade to LeBron about filling up the stat sheet because he deserved those minutes. He was a monster, all right? He was a monster. And it had been proven that high school phenoms could make an impact early if given the opportunity. But we must take that, into account because their early years were simply a story of circumstance, not excuses. LeBron's first 2 years were playoff absences, and it was known that Cleveland did not have the talent to support him winning a chip, explaining why this is an all-time great, who just had a full stat sheet those 2 years. Now, we've made it clear that pure averages and stats won't define this debate. On to the next category. Who had more help, had more competition, and how did they win? Alright, so to make things crystal clear, Kobe does not get huge points for winning all of his chips on one franchise because on multiple occasions he threatened to be traded or requested a trade. But when you hop from team to team when the going gets tough, that has to be brought up in the GOAT discussion. LeBron has played for one of the worst franchises, statistically speaking, for about 7 years. However, it was not as bad as people make it seem, as if he was stuck on a plantation or in bondage. NBA teams do not sign their rookies to 7-year contracts. So basically I'm saying, I don't begrudge him for his 2010 move, 2011. But I do think that he should have done that sooner because he could have won more rings elsewhere. If he has 7-8 rings, maybe I don't bring this up. I don't talk about this. Maybe he didn't leave Cleveland because he cared about being liked at the time but that was just a huge waste of time in his career. To put the competition disparity from their two conferences into context in the playoffs, Kobe Bryant has a 25-10 record versus 51 teams. LeBron has a 12-8 record versus 50-win teams.
But the TheBlackRanger asks, LeBron hasn't had as much help throughout his career. It's not fair.
Well then, let me ask you this. Why is it that, LeBron has had so much all-star help then? To make it fair to both LeBron and Kobe, I am not going to include, for this section, I am not going to include any years that they did not make it to the finals. That way, his old Cleveland stuff isn't going to be brought up because they weren't contenders. So in finals runs, on average, LeBron has had 1.4 All-Stars that were healthy and playing in the finals to Kobe's 1.0. So why are their championship totals so different? All right, so all the people want to say, oh, you're not counting the year that Kyrie went down. No, nigga, I counted for all of that. All of that. Every single year that he had healthy All-Stars, I only counted those. Okay, so for the 2015 year, there was only one, just him. We all know that LeBron is an all-time great. But why is it that every finals, that he wins outside of 2012, he wins by a slim margin? To paint this picture clearly, let's understand this. Kobe had one finals victory out of 5 to go to 7 games, which was in 2010 when he defeated the 3 All-Stars, not including Ray Allen. It was Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett. Ray Allen wasn't an All-Star that year. This is important because LeBron usually skates through the East, the easy East, unscathed to meet his worn-out Western Conference opponents, and people give him credit just for getting there. Is LeBron James' style of play more efficient than Kobe, or is he just a better finisher at the rim? LeBron James has notoriously been fooling people for years with his field goal percentage. While the field goal percentage stat is useful at times, when comparing players, we have to take certain things into context and not just compare raw numbers. While it can be said that LeBron makes smart decisions to go to the bucket and play bully ball, we have to remember that his lack of ability to stretch the floor earlier in his career is what led to smart teams being able to force him to shoot it or pass off to less talented teammates because they would just sag off. If you look at the shot chart, you can see that LeBron, he has a much more predictable game, which has allowed for smart teams like the Spurs and even the Mavs to have his number. During the finals, the Spurs, they've been forcing him through all 3. They've been forcing him to shoot about 45% from the field, which is pretty low for his style of play. He barrels to the basket, finishes at the cup, and he takes open threes because the D sags off. It's not a good look for LeBron's claim for all-time status is that he can't beat smart teams, and the only teams that he beats in the finals, they're either young and dumb or scattered and tattered / injured. He beat the 2012 Thunder, where their best player was 23 and played very well while Westbrook stunk up the place. Then he beat the 2013 Spurs, who had Tony Parker, who strained his right hamstring, winning in 7. Tony Parker was balling early in that series if you guys didn't watch. And a 2016 Golden State team that lost Bogut, their rim protector, to knee injury, and an injured Steph Curry. So anybody who did watch that series, they do remember that the Cavs, they had a favorable whistle. A win is a win, but we must check this kind of stuff when talking about GOAT status. Kobe, whether you want to look at the early 2000s or the late 2000s, can definitively win in a variety of ways. We saw what Kobe could do as the partner in crime, 3 chips and 1 loss. And as a league guy, he had 1 loss and 2 chips back-to-back. So that leads me to my next point. While LeBron is the better quote-unquote all-around player, Kobe's the more dangerous weapon. To paint the picture, who would you rather have on your team in a finals game? Kyle Lowry or Kyrie Irving? One is an all-around point guard while the other is more of a specialist. I can guarantee that you would take Kyrie all day, every day. This is because you intrinsically understand that just because you have more abilities does not make them more refined for the job you need to get done, which in basketball is to win chips. For example, If you had a house full of 100 different guns and a man who uses only one specialized weapon comes through and kicks down your door, you're stuck while you're over here choosing which gun to use. He's already coming for your neck. He's in the door, he's in your house, he's coming for your neck. So now we're going to go on into their individual abilities. I don't believe that anybody would argue that Kobe is the better scorer, whether it's volume or throughout the course of a game. He's just more dangerous and is harder to stop based on his skill set. LeBron is easier to game plan for scoring wise, but on the flip side, don't let LeBron fool you. He gets buckets, okay? He gets buckets. Just not on Kobe's level. But on the flip side, LeBron's passing is superior to Kobe's definitively. Kobe is an underrated passer, and he just isn't on Bron's level in that aspect. LeBron has passing ability slightly lower than Larry Bird's level, and Kobe's just not in that class. Rebounding is not really relevant to these two because LeBron is a forward and Kobe is a guard. Therefore, the rebounding disparity should be different. However, much props to Bron and Kobe because both pulled down a great number of boards for their position. Offense-wise, both are generally equals. The main difference between these two abilities is defense. While some make noise that LeBron is a defensive stopper for 5 positions, that's not true. That's not true. He cannot guard real 5s, and he can only stick slower 1s. To challenge that, please let me know any real centers like Marc Gasol, Joel Embiid, Boogie, or Dwight that he could shut down or stop. He can cover a weaker or less talented 5 momentarily, but he can't stick them for the whole game. For his prime years, he was a very good defender, but he was a little overrated. People sometimes give him credit for locking down D Rose in the 2011 playoffs. It was actually that D Rose was getting double teamed by the entire Heat team, being primarily covered by Bron towards the end. LeBron James has had 5 first-team all-defensive selections and 1 second-team selection. And by the look of his defense over the last few years, it looks like his reign of defensive, tyranny is over. All right. While Kobe's resume, it speaks for itself. He's had 9 first-team all-defensive selections and 3 second-team all-defensive selections, and he's tied for the most first-team all-defensive selections in history. I won't go too much into the clutch factor because while I believe Kobe is more clutch, LeBron has definitely proven throughout the years that he is clutch as well, and he's long since shaken off that silly rumor that he isn't. While Kobe is dwarfed by LeBron's MVP awards, 2 out of those 4 MVPs came in seasons where he didn't even make the finals. Now the other 2, they did come in years where LeBron had an all-time great season statistically in each of them. But to be fair to Kobe, his lone MVP came when he lost in 6 in the 2008 finals to the Boston Celtics after only having Pau Gasol for the last 27 games of the regular season, and in the postseason he was also missing Andrew Bynum to injury. LeBron's MVP seasons cannot be ignored, however they cannot be glorified too much. Because in 2009, he was eliminated by Dwight Howard, who had a very similar offensive and team situation to LeBron James, and he eliminated him in 6. In 2010, he was eliminated by the Boston Celtics after acquiring a bum Shaquille O'Neal, but also a productive scorer in Antoine Jameson, who was averaging about 20.5 points per game before coming to Cleveland, where they eliminated him in 6. The only reason that I bring up 2011 for LeBron James is because this showed that LBJ being with talent and a good organization was not the problem, but that it was him. 2011 was LBJ's opportunity to prove to the whole world that every other series before this was his team's fault and not his. But he didn't know how to play off the ball behind D Wade. And this left his team hanging in point production and defense, allowing Jason Terry to basically torch him. While Kobe's 2004 performance was horrific, let's remember that Kobe at that point had been an MVP candidate, a 3-time champion, and a multiple-time All-Star who had simply added his first real failure to his resume. LeBron's 2011 performance sunk any chance of him passing the blame for his past failures. In ways, I think that Kobe, what he did in 2004 could be considered worse than LeBron's 2011 because Kobe willingly did those things, while LeBron did not. However, I cannot ignore who Kobe was up to that point. He was a 3-time champion and was proven in the league as a winner. LeBron at that time of 2011 was still considered a colossal talent who was just a big loser who could only put up stats similar to Wilt. So my final take on the simplest argument between these 2 players is this. For NBA fans and analysts, we must always remember that we don't know as much as the people who actually play and perform this game at the highest level. So we have to take their unbiased word for it. And by unbiased word, we have to check our sources, okay? So players like Magic, Jordan, Bird, Isaiah Thomas, and Jerry West quotes will not be used in this video because they all have an axe to grind against at least one of these players. Magic might try to raise LeBron's status because that's one of his current players. Jordan will definitely promote Kobe because Kobe is a worse version of him. Bird will definitely support Kobe as well because LeBron is competing with Bird for the best small forward of all time. Isaiah Thomas, that man hates Jordan, okay? So he's always going to prop up LeBron. And Jerry West is very similar to LeBron in finals losses and might be jealous of Kobe for having more success as a Laker due to player movement rules in West's era, because this is a player in Jerry West who had to play the same team in the finals over and over again due to teams keeping players basically forever. So here are a few players that I found who played at the same time, both in each's prime, or they basically just have no horse in this race and no axe to grind, and they're going to say what they have to say about who's better. Shaquille O'Neal states, "You always knew great players are great individuals, but you know greater players play on greater teams, and teams win championships. And you know the greatest players have the most amount of championships. The great Michael Jordan was correct. You know Kobe has 5 championships, LeBron has 1. And if LeBron can get to 6, then you compare him to Mike. So until he gets to 6, we can't compare him to the great Mike." Charles Barkley on his top 6 with LeBron at 7, he states, "Michael Jordan, Oscar Robertson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Kobe Bryant." When Skip Bayless asked Steven Jackson who he would take between LeBron and Kobe, he responded, in quote, "I would take Kobe." Kenyon Martin states, in quote, "Taking nothing away from LeBron, but I'm Team Kobe." So if these NBA stars who have no axe to grind with either player say this, why do people disagree? That's like you enjoying cooking shows and you watching these world-class chefs compete on a high level, and when they tell you who's the best out of all of them, you want to try and override them? Like, do you understand how arrogant, pompous, like disrespectful that is? If you do that to your lawyer, he's not going to take your case. If you do that to your doctor, he's going to laugh in your face, tell you kick rocks, and he's not going to tell you about how he's going to diagnose you with the STD that you have. Please respect someone's craft and the experts of it. These guys know what they're talking about. Let's get one thing straight, man. King James, that's one of my favorite players of all time. As a player who I modeled my game after, all right? He's an athletic, all-around phenom who ascended from a situation where all odds were against him. Like, LeBron James' mother and her theft embarrassed him so bad that he missed half a year of school. He has risen from the dirt to the mountaintop and is one of the best, if not the best, sports story ever. But that does not mean that he gets to ascend to being the GOAT automatically. I look at him like how I look at the superhero Galactus. He's incredibly powerful, but he uses his surrounding teammates to harness his power by sucking it out of them. This is why no set of teammates can stay with him for more than 4 years. And he doesn't have the cachet around the league among NBA greats that would land him in the GOAT discussion, much over Kobe Bryant. Now, I will admit this. The thing that LeBron James has that makes him so lovable for this GOAT discussion is the fact that he's unique. The reason Kobe cannot be in the GOAT discussion is because Kobe is a lesser version of a player we've already seen. All I am saying is that right now LeBron is lower on that rung. Okay? While I do believe that LeBron, if he won 2 more rings, that he could pass Kobe, this is a long shot and it most likely won't happen. Kobe Bryant is one of the most polarizing players in NBA history, but I'm sorry. He is a better component to the team game of basketball than LeBron James is. The NBA is a make-or-miss league. Let's just be honest about it. There are a lot of shots that almost went in, a lot of passes that almost got through, and a lot of teams that almost won. But almost isn't good enough. You have to complete. It's not just good enough just to get to the mountaintop and not plant your flag. You have to go up there and plant your flag. That's the ultimate culmination of success. It's the championship. That's the goal. Kobe's done that 5 times. LeBron has done it 3. You can do this with players of similar talent and similar skill level, similar accolades. You must compare how much they succeeded in the team sport. It's no disrespect, in any way meant to be thrown towards the players, but facts are facts. Also, I know I have certain trigger words set in the comment section so that if there is any crazy negativity down there, your comment will not be visible. If you don't have anything positive to say, definitely kick rocks. And if you have constructive debate, feedback, criticism, ideas, then make your way to the comment section. Thanks to all for watching this production. Thank you for helping this channel grow every day. Check the description for more details. You already know, don't be mad at me, be mad at yourself for being an underachiever. Play that outro.